Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
How are you?
I'm good. Good to see
Good
you.
to see you. I am so happy to have you here. The gloriously talented and wonderful Debra DiGiovanni.
Hello,
Giovanni,
DiGiovanni. It's a big
as
one.
I butcher your
Hi.
name.
That is so Kyle, like where's he? He's lost in the woods somewhere. He's retreating.
He said he was staying in Beaverton, Oregon, and he's going back in a convolutedly long way to avoid the fires. Like he's going through, just detouring through Utah. So convenient. But yeah, it was one of those things where he's just like, I think I can swing it, and if I get to a hotel in time, I'm like, no, that's just not. It's an hour a week. It's fine. We didn't do it last week because Jake and Kyle were on vacation, but we did one this morning for the Patreon supporters. It was like a morning Hey Girl, so it was coffee instead of booze. It was pretty great. And
that's nice. That works.
We just did a Q&A. So for those of you who want to watch that, join the Patreon. But you were actually Kyle's suggestion. Like I was like, who should we get to cover? And he just shot back your name, and I was like, fucking perfect.
I'm telling you, he is very good to me. That one, you know what? He just is. He's a champion of mine. He's always suggesting me for stuff. He's a good man.
I put up the little flyer, and a gal friend of mine was like, "Oh, she's my number one favorite comedian." So
you know good people. You have clever friends.
I do know good people. And her name is Angela. And it's actually John Roy's wife. Hey.
Oh God.
So John,
I know her.
John wrote. Yay, I'm number 2. Which I doubt you're even her second, man. No offense, John, but like I know I'm not my wife's second favorite. What am I?
No, should you be really?
27th or something? Let's be honest.
That would be kind of creepy, to be honest. You know what I mean? Your partner, like I'm your number one. I mean, like stop. Okay, that's enough. I want you to love me, but take it easy.
When I started out doing improv comedy in Chicago, there was a guy who I remember was married and was like, just like. This can you hear that? The doorbell? Yeah, that would be like a Mr. Rogers thing. Like if this was like a theater-based thing, I'm just like, hey, I got the money. And these guys are just punching me. Like, you know, is this staged? Holy shit.
Is this real? Oh. God, he's so method.
Yeah. But anyway, okay, I'll get it. Let's go pick up some wine.
Great, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Please would you promise to answer the door? Hey, girl.
Yeah. No, it's okay. You can just make sure the baby's alive. Well, that's cool. Look at a poster that says "Resist hate." Resist hate, everybody.
Hey, girl, resist hate.
Hey, actually, that's a good lead-in for our.
For the charity.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna lift this on my own. With one hand on this. Can you hold this? Can you face the door? Thanks, babe. I'll be quick.
Oh my God.
Wine.
It's a box of wine? You have boxes of wine delivered to your home?
Yeah. It's heavy. Come on. No, everyone knows you had a kid. You can't lift anything. Thanks, baby. This is the content people crave.
I was going to say, this is it.
This is what they
pay the big money for. This is what they pay the big money for. They want to see it.
I know $50 for a streaming show that only lasts an hour was a lot, guys, but you know.
But this is, come on.
Wife and also
come on.
A box of wine in the house. Or for a quarantine couple with a child. But yeah, where was it? So he would do these shows. We do these shows together, and he'd be like, "She's here, isn't she?" And I'm like, "What?" "My wife." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "She comes to all my shows." Like it drove him crazy. And
you know what though?
How do you
feel about that though?
Yeah. I never knew he was just like, I wish he wouldn't go to one show. I'm just like, and I was always like, I was unattached at the time and was like, why don't you just talk to her and tell her that?
Yeah.
And you know, like just say it doesn't.
Yeah.
Don't be that person that just lets it simmer. And
no way.
At the time, I think they had one kid. Now they have like 3. They live out here. I think they're way happier. And he's a different guy now. But like, it was just that thing where I'm just like, why is this?
I have to say, I don't think I would want my boyfriend to come see every show.
Every
Do
show
you
would
know what
be
I
a
mean?
lot. It would be a
Every
lot.
show, it's like, this is work. I'm working. I want to hang out with the comics and stuff. Do you know?
Yeah.
Good shows, fancy shows, absolutely.
And by the way, a lot of boyfriends. I've seen your posts. They're beautiful. Really lovely.
Do you know, I'm going to tell you, there are some people that actually, I'm serious. I think there are people that actually believe that they're my boyfriend. And then we're just like, where did he go?
It's not.
They're all my boyfriends.
For those of you watching, Debra posts impossibly beautiful men. Just very funny, like, he acts like he doesn't want his picture taken, but he does.
You see, that's my favorite part. It's like everyone's always like, oh my God, he's so hot. But mine is always my caption of like him pretending, because I always make it like,
that's my favorite.
He loves me too much, and I'm all like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's called Debra's Fake Boyfriend Friday. Well, and you would be alarmed at how long I've been doing it. Like, I think it's been like 3 years or something.
I look forward to it every time.
I'm telling you, it's so stupid. But yeah. But still, I do think every show is a bit much. Do you know what I mean? With your partner coming to every show, it's like,
I will say improv shows only happen like once a week. Our shows
different story.
Yes. Yeah. You know, we could be doing
seriously. Can you imagine her coming 2 sets a night, 7 days a week? Forget it.
I will say I love the fact that my wife never sees me, because she makes a living repping comics. You know, she's a manager. She's done.
That's enough. She's
done.
Yeah.
Doesn't
I totally respect that.
Yeah.
Just the big stuff. Just come to the big stuff. That's all I'm asking for. You know? Oh, sure. Please. Exactly. Okay. You were gonna lead into the charity, I think, who we're donating to.
Yes. For those who don't know, there was a terrible thing happened in Rochester, New York, to a guy named Daniel Prude, who was going through a mental health episode, and so we're just going to raise some money for some justice for this gentleman. I wouldn't look it up now; it's very distressing. But it is a good cause, and as always, if you can give, please do. You know, if not, it's totally fine. Enjoy the show, and just let the guilt eat away at you. But it is the juxtaposition of like this whole show idea was just based on checking in on each other, during the quarantine and stuff, and we're just like, well, let's just raise money for charities, and we've done it for we ran the gamut. We've had all kinds of stuff.
So for what are you, 6 months now?
Has it been?
Is it
about? God, has it been that long?
Yeah, no, like 5 months. This is our 6 months.
Probably about 5. But yeah, so it's a blast, and why not if we can, get some dough. So I'm gonna let you do a tight 5.
Okay. I'm gonna go. Hello, everybody. Good deal. Well, let's be honest.
Almost worse than morning radio DJs.
Oh, God.
Do you miss them? I know you miss the road. I know you miss doing live comedy.
You know what? It's so funny though, because I do miss the road, and at the same time, I do not miss the road. Do you know what I mean?
Correct. Absolutely.
Like, it's like, we love comedy. We want to perform. I want to perform. But there is that, I think it was more at the beginning of this, because like there was that sort of like normalcy of schedule that I was like, I'm unprepared for this. But then I was like, yeah, I like this, Yes. There was a couple months where I was going to bed at like reasonable hours, and that's done. But then now it's sort of come back around again, where I'm like, I'm really missing it now. I don't know what to do with myself. But there was a couple months where I was like solidly like, this is great. This is amazing.
You're filling in for Kyle perfectly, because Kyle still has not felt like he's just now starting to kind of miss stand-up. He's like, really? For months he was like, this is the best. Just drink wine in my garage. He's like, Kyle's living his best life, man. I don't know.
But I think it's like just the idea of like not knowing when it's coming back is what is scary. That's it. That's what I don't focus on.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things about this year is the horrible uncertainty that we kind of have to. Everyone just kind of has to say Zen, and live in the prayer of serenity.
Yes, totally.
I mean,
living in the like it is. It's very much just like I can't go farther than like a couple of weeks, because then I'm just like, no, I'm not getting up. I'm not getting up. I'm staying down.
It's helped me so much with going, what do I have any power of changing at all?
I know. Yeah.
Then maybe I can focus on that stuff.
Yeah.
Much less, even while we have this monstrous, though wonderful president. No, terrible man who thrives on our anxiety and
Yeah,
feeds on
yeah.
our attention.
Mhm.
Even that, I'm like, even with him throwing fireballs at everyone's, thatched roofs, I'm just sitting here going, well, I can't do anything about
I
that.
know. Yeah.
I can let myself go off on an angry tear or
And make
something.
myself sick. Like
Right.
literally make myself sick about it.
Yeah, exactly. I can over imbibe any number of substances to try to kill that pain that I've
Yeah.
created,
Yeah. Yeah.
or I can just kind of let it go and I can just
I
kind of,
know. There is a sort of that concept of like ignoring something, and it'll go away. And it like
mhm.
won't physically go away, but like I really feel like if we ignored Trump, he might go away. Like he could
Yes.
disappear. Do you know, because
Hmm.
he just thrives on it so much.
Yes,
That like if
exactly.
we as a nation were just like everyone
Well,
turn away. Do you know what I
he's
mean? Emperor
like
has new clothes.
he's like Rumpelstiltskin, but he's alive as long as you say his name. Rather than
That's
Rumpelstiltskin,
exactly
you
it.
say it
That's
backwards, he's dead.
exactly it.
That thing.
Right? Oh,
Hmm.
we've got to
Yeah.
figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm in Canada right now. I'm
Oh,
in Toronto
where?
right now.
Where?
Yeah,
Where?
I'm
Oh,
in
you're
Toronto,
Toronto.
my hometown. Yeah. I
Nice.
am a little work came up. And so it was just like, do I go? Like, is this,
Yeah.
because it's so funny too, because I've been super quarantined and then I'm like, and I'm gonna fly. Like
Uh huh.
I needed like a next step, I needed to be like
Right.
quarantined, then I needed like a walk in the park and then flying. But I just went from absolutely nothing to flying. And it was a breeze. There was no
Great.
problem yesterday.
Great.
The LAX was a ghost town. Like there was nobody there. But yeah,
Awesome.
so now I'm in Canada for about a month.
Oh, that's
I got a
cool.
couple things. Yeah, the book ended, so it was just like thrilled
That's
to do it,
perfect.
something to do, because Canada's doing much better.
Oh, I
They
know.
Yeah, we
I
are.
know in the news, and also we've had other Canadians on the
Oh
show
yeah,
that are
doing much
there.
better. And it's not like, people aren't like, it's not normal, but it's, production. A lot of production is back,
Yeah.
but they're just kind of, doing it. So yeah, so I'm lucky enough to get a little bit of work. So
God
I'm here.
bless.
I'm in Toronto. I'm
God
in Toronto.
bless. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was I shot a thing. I had a couple of trips to Vancouver last year,
Oh,
and
good deal.
yeah, I mean, I love any excuse to kind of be put up there. I remember the most surreal experience in 2010. I was on a show that shot in Montreal, and it was just the weirdest thing to not be there during JFL, and the
Mm,
most wonderful thing,
yeah.
you know?
Because doesn't it feel like it's like, oh, it still exists, not when the festival's not on. Like
Oh
you feel
yeah.
like it
Well,
closes itself up.
I mean, it's such a bonkers city in all these wonderful ways. It's great to be there when you're
Yeah.
not
When you're not
worried
going
about
with your
seeing
like,
people, but you
yeah,
just
not with your like,
won't, and it's
yeah, on
nice.
fire. Yeah. But
It's nice.
Montreal is just a good town to be in when you're not, having to like schmooze and do 75 shows and drink every night. And yeah,
Exactly.
it's a good city. It's a good
Hmm.
city to
Yeah,
be
it's
in. Yeah,
it's
totally.
it's very lively and fun. I was there when
Yeah.
it was 2010 when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup, and it was fun being there as someone born in Chicago, didn't grow up there, but
Yeah.
lived there,
Oh
having
yeah,
been
yeah.
before. So I was happy. And it was like they were playing, I forget whoever they're playing was someone that no one really gave a shit about in Montreal. And so I
Yeah.
was like in a bar, like, yeah, they're kind of
Yeah.
like, all right, cool.
Okay.
Good
Although
for you.
Montreal is a city that will riot after sports.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
They set cars on fire because their team didn't win. Like they for sure do.
Hmm.
You go, Canada's so nice. We'll set your car on fire if our team loses. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's
Oil.
funny. People think of Canada as so, I mean, it is obviously the stereotype is quite real. People being
Yeah.
very nice and things like
Yeah.
that. But like a lot of biker gangs,
Oh
a
God,
lot of
yeah.
a
Oh
lot
God,
of
yeah.
drugs, a lot of
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
crime.
See, whenever someone says to me like, "Oh, Canadians, you're so friendly," I'm like, "No, no. You know what it is? It's not that we're friendly people, but it's more that we're polite rather than friendly. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, you know what I
Yes,
mean? Like the minute you turn your back, we're like, what the fuck? Like that.
of course.
There's definitely a lot of stink eye, but
Yeah,
just to your face, you're like, hey, hi.
it's
It's more polite than it is.
it's like the oh bless your heart in the
Exactly.
South is go fuck
Exactly.
yourself.
Yeah,
Is
totally,
boy,
totally.
I wish you died.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
when that dude narrowly beat a Trump backed guy. Where was it? I want to say, oh God, he was, like he was somewhere in the deep South, and a guy at his celebration rally was like, and to President Trump, God bless his heart. And everyone's and it's that genteel.
Oh yeah,
I
that
can't
just
flip
like, and
you off,
everyone
but I'm
knows what they're
flipping you
saying.
off.
Yeah. Do you know what I found out in the UK when someone says interesting, that means shut the fuck up. That means when someone says interesting, oh interesting, they mean I could give a fuck what you're saying.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah. No,
yeah. It's funny. It's all about the snide comments because it's what's polite. Which to me, I'd rather you tell me I'm ugly and go fuck myself.
Same. I would rather you tell me to suck a dick than be like, hey, hi.
I will say I much prefer the upfrontedness of the American style.
There is that when you hate someone, we know it, and that's
mm-hmm.
and we're fine, and we're fine, and we like it just fine.
I did this show once where it was comics and in America and comics in England, and we kind of like have this. You kind of compete a little bit in terms of. I feel like
I remember this.
Yes. And they were. It was nighttime there, and so they were like having drinks, and this older guy, and it was. I didn't realize we'd be on video. It was insanely hot. So I'm there in like shorts and a tank top in the booth. And they're throwing me all this bullshit shit about like, oh, you just come from, the guys making kind of like weak gay jokes or like, like something about like, I forget what it was. But I finally just go, how old are you? You get drunk like this all the time? And he was like, well, it was just, and it just made the room cold. I didn't care. Where I'm just like, your wink, wink, nudge, nudge is not cute.
Exactly.
And so, and you're hammered.
Yeah.
It's 6 p.m. your time, and you're trying to hide it. Right. So I just was like, I'm just going in.
This is it. I'm just going to throw down and just throw some honesty and upset you deeply.
It's like I don't have the patience to be subtle with you.
We could do this for half an hour. I could just say what
dance.
I mean. The first time that I ever performed in London, the first show that I saw, a male comic, pulled a rubber fish out of his pants and beat the crowd with it.
Nice. Amazing.
I was just like, what's happening right now? Like there was that question, like, because my brain was like, they're going to be also, very upper crust, and he took a fish out of his pants and beat me.
See,
and
I
loved it, and I was like, what?
I love stupid jokes and stupid humor, but it's funny. I remember being like, let's shit on all the countries. So I was in Australia, and I was there for the Melbourne Fest, and there was this show where this older comic who was like kind of a legend there and stuff, and I did like a live show with him, like a panel. Anything this guy did, people were like, look at him, he's doing something crazy. Like there was like a handrail leading up the stage, and he just started climbing it.
Oh,
and everyone's like,
yeah, he's brilliant. He's a genius.
What a bit. But they did this festival opening number. It was him and he was white, and 5 white women, and they were doing like a tightly choreographed like Bollywood number in the costumes, in the wardrobe. This whole thing, like doing that. And that's the bit.
Yeah.
6 white people dancing like they're Indians from India, and people were like laughing, and the guy's look on his face was like, the look on his face was like, can you believe it's me? I'm doing this. This white legend. And I remember sitting there with a beer, and I was there with Sean Patton, and I were co-headlining this show with what's her name? Franklin. She's a New York comic. Marina Franklin. Thanks, honey. Yeah. You said it just as Debra did. And the 3 of us. And we were sitting, and I was like, is this racist? And Sean's like, yeah.
And Marina was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is funny though, isn't it? It's like how different comedy is wherever you go in the world. It just
fair, it was another time. It was 2010.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Which is, it's like 10 years ago. But can we also admit that 10 years ago, there was less canceling 10 years ago?
There was, I'm not about canceling. I don't care if someone said or did a thing, just own it, you know, and move
Yeah.
on. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily think someone said something offensive, they are per se racist or
Yeah.
sexist. It's just like, but what you said was, so you
Yeah.
should own that.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. There is something shitty about people backpedaling. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? About
Yeah.
like, but and it's like, okay, you know what? That's I remember. Like, I did a podcast a couple weeks ago about it's called "Fuck This Place" about bad jobs, and
Oh,
I had
love
a
it.
terror. I was, before, no, for a little bit of comedy before I was able to quit my day job. I was
Mhm.
always a receptionist, right? So I was always, good afternoon, blah blah. Like that was me,
Okay.
right? And I remember I worked in the '90s. I worked for a TV station, and my boss was psychotic, and she was psychotic, and she would always take me to task for being rude. She'd like, someone said you were rude, but my thing was always like, no, if I was rude, I'll be the first person to tell you. Like there were times like she'd be like, you were rude. I was like, I really wasn't. And then there'd be times where it's like, you said this, and I'm like, yeah, I absolutely was. I was a total bitch to that. Like, you know what I mean? Because like my brain is like, I'm not gonna sit here and fake it. I'm rude. I was rude. She's not gonna fire me. I was like, okay. I just hate that whole like pretending. Oh no. This is what I meant. No. This is what you meant. Just I would way rather someone just admit that they were shitty and move on. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, when
Yeah.
when the I think my favorite, if we could just Jake flash the Chiron moments in racism across the screen. My favorite was when I think it was Fuzzy Zeller when Tiger Woods won the Masters, was like,
Yeah.
because if you win the Masters, you choose what everyone eats at the gala, at the big dinner. And
Oh.
he's like, if we're gonna have fried chicken or whatever they eat, like he said something just bananas.
Just
This is my barometer, where it's something, if you put it in a script, a person be like,
Yeah.
no one would ever say something
no.
that not even a fried chicken. Can you pick something else? Something else. Please.
It's too easy. It's too
Please.
easy. Yeah.
It's just there's no imagination in this
No. Yeah.
person's head. And everyone understandably was like, you're being racist. And rather than go, you know what I said was pretty racist, I will learn from it, whatever. The next day he trotted out a black friend. He was like on the greens, like holding him by the arm, like, this is Dan, he's here to talk. And we're all just like,
Oh God, stop.
Oh, please don't do that to your friend.
Oh God.
Oh.
Like who does, like I feel like Joan Rivers was the queen of that. Like she'd say something too soon and just be like, it's my job.
Right.
Always loved that about her.
Yeah.
Always loved that about her.
Yeah.
After what was it? I'm gonna say typhoon, but that's the wrong word. Do you remember in Thailand when we had the monsoon? Was it? I can't. The actual weather phenomena is escaping me, but like the huge wave. Remember what was it?
What's tsunami. You talking about tsunami?
Tsunami, Jesus.
It's okay.
And she made jokes about it like 3 days later.
Yes.
And people were losing their mind. And she was like, it's my joke to bring levity to terrible situations. It's my job, to do that. And everyone was so crazy. But you know what though? It never hurt her. That's what we knew about Joan Rivers. And there was a bit after she passed, may she rest. There was a moment where I really did kind of say to myself, I'm never going to apologize for what I said. I mean, not totally, but I won't take it back. I will maybe apologize and go, I didn't realize it. But there is something about that, like, stand by what you said. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
even if it's stupid.
Yeah,
even if you made a mistake.
And it's to the person. I had a bit where I threw out that it was so cold in Chicago that my nipples razored holes in my shirt. I looked like a fat tranny.
Yeah.
And I said that in the bit. And it's like, it was one of those things where I just kind of often rapid fire, I used to stuff and not even think what I said. And a trans person reached out to me on Facebook. This is from a special in 2011. So long time ago. But to your point of 10 years ago,
Yes.
And she reached out to me and she was like, I just want to say I'm a huge fan, and just hearing that really, it made my stomach drop. And I wrote her and I was like, I didn't even realize it. And of course it didn't even cross my mind, because it's nothing.
Because it was the vernacular in 2011. Do you know what I mean? We're not proud of it. We're not proud of it.
Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
It just was. It still wasn't cool.
Like, even though we knew it was like not nice, it was probably a word in vocabulary that you were still like,
yeah. If someone else did that joke and they didn't want to apologize, they didn't want to engage, that's fine. But I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's it. Yeah. It's not like I'm trying to, I'm doing this like, boy, I want to get into heaven. It's like, I would rather this person feel better and not, and I'd rather do more imaginative shit.
Yeah. Do you, is there anything that like, in the last little bit, is there anything that you've thought of like, oh, I'm going to take this out? Because I will tell you, since we've started, what the real eye-opening sort of the Black Lives Movement, like the stuff is, there's some really, honestly, I can completely admit it, as a woman of my age that grew up in a small town with no diversity, I can honestly admit I don't have a lot of information. I really don't. And I've tried to do some learning and whatever, but I'm telling you the truth. Like there are a couple jokes that I'm just like, I'm not going to do that joke anymore. And it's because it's like, it's not even something like, oh my God.
Is it all your fried chicken material?
Yeah. You know me. You know how I do.
The callback, folks.
There we go.
I'm very sorry.
Like, because there's like sort of like fetishizing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Some certain things that it's always like, like there's like, even when you say it, you go, but it was like, oh, but it's good. But then I was like, no, that's actually still wrong,
Look, you're just evolving, and I don't want to throw out like humor that might have a little edge to it.
Yes, exactly. And I did. The joke is 10 years old, but you're right. There are things that you just go. It's the evolution of language. You know what I mean?
I will say one of my favorite jokes, and I remember one of my favorite things is saying something to my mom, and she laughs, but she doesn't want to laugh. Yes. My favorite. Because she's very like loud and out there and stuff and progressive. She's from a very prim and proper family, so that's always part of her. But I remember Matt Dwyer had this joke that was actually, Matt Dwyer is my stage name. I can't use my real name. My father named me after his favorite Mark Twain character, and he would actually say the word, but
oh God,
N-word Jim, and it was like, and it's painful to see a white person say it, but it's like that's his name. That's his name in Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah, Huck Finn. Yeah,
it's Huck Finn. And so it's just like that. It just hits you in the gut, and just the joke is not that how awful that word is. The joke is a white guy naming his white son what he thinks is fine. I love that character. He
I love that book. It's beautiful.
He was helpful. He was his right-hand man. It's like, Dad, why? Why not just Jim?
No, Jim. Why not James? My God, Jesus. But no, there is something about the laughter of like when people go, you can tell like there is that laughter, but we should be laughing at this. Yes. There is a little bit of that sort of like, oh, that's awful, but you're still laughing. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and that's one of my favorite things about comedy is that like my parents, they don't curse often, and they don't, if you start talking about something pretty blue, But like, I remember them seeing, I did this show that was based on, you just had to do bits based on drugs or drug experiences. And one at the Purple Onion, RIP, in San Francisco. And Mark Maron, his whole bit was about, I forget what it was, like some kind of drug where, and combining with the doctor giving him a proctology exam aggressively. And he's like, and this doctor's finger banging my asshole, man. My parents are punching each other in the arm, crying. Because if I just worked finger banging into a conversation,
you'd be in trouble.
You know what I mean? But my mom loves Mark, so she's like, yay, finger.
Yeah. But you know what though? I will say this though too. I feel like there's also a bit of a key to being dirty, which is so funny to you still call it dirty, right? It's like, I feel like someone like, and maybe even to a certain extent you as well, because I have sort of like an anti vibe. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, there's Aunt Debra kind of. So when I'm dirty, people are either like, and there's that shock value of it, but I get away with it because there's sort of a sweetness, or the other way where people are like, absolutely not. And I feel like this thing, you know what I mean? Like, not that you have an anti vibe, although I was gonna say that.
I have an uncle vibe.
An uncle vibe, slight uncle, the fun uncle.
Yeah, but that makes it even worse if I'm just like, so I got to bend over a couch. Hey, it's like, hey, Uncle Matthew, please.
That's troublesome at Thanksgiving. Anyway, it is. Don't.
You shouldn't open with that story.
It's funny, isn't it? Because Angie can do it, but Uncle can't.
No, and because Uncle had a couple pops in the car for courage out of the house. So. I love your bit about sex act outs on stage, because every man, I will let me say every hack, but almost every man has something about like, so
yes.
like,
yeah.
And I'm gonna butcher your joke.
Dude, please, I like it. Go.
So I've been trying to do Actos of my own. Is it like this? And you're smiling and you're doing
This one?
funny.
Is this one? I'm not even sure what that one is.
Is this
something?
one?
Is this something?
Is this something?
I know that kind of stuff I love too. I really do. Just that ignorant kind of vibe.
Well, and you also have this huge smile on your face. You're just looking at some distant point.
Yes.
Like that's your sex
thing. It? Is this one?
Look over here. I'm not gonna look at you.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. Here, I'm gonna read off some our donors again.
Oh yeah,
helping everybody. Let's see. Here we go. So Kevin Chirmazoo, $10 said, Deb D.
Woo.
Amanda Matthews Ramsey, $25 said, hey girl. Hey girl. Swayze Meteor, best name, $25. Snip Ticker, what's up? $20. Nice. No Coin, $25. And Jake tried to help us by writing.
Thank you. God bless you. Yeah.
So let's bring you. The special guest was your choice, which I was very happy. He's a very funny person. Why don't you introduce him?
Oh my gosh. Joining us today is one of my dearest friends in comedy. We've been friends for a really long time, even though we both look alarmingly young. He is so funny. He's so great. He lives in Vancouver. Lives in British Columbia, just outside of Vancouver. And we're so happy to have him here. Please help me welcome Darcy Michael.
Woo!
Hey girl.
Hey girl. Hey. Look at us. Hi. Yes, I've got my clean canteen. Listen, I already smoked my joint and took my mushrooms. I couldn't wait.
I love it.
Nor should you.
So happy you've done that.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, dude, thanks for coming on the show. This is great.
Hey girl.
Nice. Hi, Deej.
We haven't actually spoken in a couple of weeks.
I know, we've been so busy sitting in our houses quarantining.
I was gonna
Listen,
say,
I've got a bit of a
bone. Though. You do stuff though. You're walking your dog, you're painting a wall.
Why are you dissing my rubber fish bit? What the fuck is that about? Huh?
You stole it from you. All of England has stolen your bits.
Debra loves bearing the lead. Tell us and say won't even share that it was a good friend.
No.
That wasn't even an English person.
One of my dearest friends. Yeah.
It was a Canadian man.
English speaking Canadian.
You know how much it's very difficult bringing that through airport security.
Please.
Hi, Deej. I miss you.
I miss you too, babe.
Yeah, you guys. What's happening in Canada? Where are you, Darcy?
I'm in Vancouver. I'm like 20 minutes outside in Ladner, which is like a little farming community here.
Okay.
It's been really good. Like we've been super lucky. We're fully back open and stuff, but our numbers are climbing, so whatever. We're still supposed to keep our bubble small, but film industry started, stand up not as much, but to be honest guys, I'm totally okay with it. I'm having the time of my life. It's been great. My garden's never looked better. My puppy's actually getting trained. It's good times over here.
That's awesome. Are you doing any outdoor shows? Any of those stuff?
No, I just got a gig offer to come to Toronto, but I turned it down because I was like, I haven't been on stage in forever. So I'm gonna next week I'm gonna start doing some outdoor shows.
Okay.
Just kind of ease my way back into it. But had I known Debra was gonna be in Toronto,
I know we didn't communicate.
I know. Where you been, girl?
We didn't communicate. We did it. Oh, I know. It's awful.
It's been my bad.
On behalf of the idiot American contingent, of which I'm definitely a member, I know this is a stupid question, but there's at least one person watching and going, "Why don't you just drive over?" Darcy, how far can it possibly be?
Well, it can't be far at all. It's not like LA to New York. It's only a 5.5 hour, 6 hour flight to Toronto. I can't.
Yeah, 5 hours.
This is over 5. How weird. Okay, I've just realized this is the longest I've gone in 15 years without being on a flight.
On a flight?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's been going on 9 months now.
Yeah.
Because my thing was I don't know if you remember, Deej, I had nose surgery before the lockdown. I had
yes.
they had to break my nose in February, so I was already 4 weeks into sitting at home recovering, and literally it was 2 days after I was allowed to like go out and live life that everything shut down, and people were complaining after a week. I was like, "Fuck you! I'm 5 weeks into this. I finished Netflix. I don't know what to do." Yeah,
I forgot about that.
I know, but doesn't it look good?
It's gorge. It's
perfect.
gorge, girl.
Field nice.
Yeah.
She works with what So what's going on?
I feel like some American watchers of this like live vicariously when I have Canadian guests on, where they're like, oh, that must be lovely.
That must be
pretty. It's a pretty nice little spot. Do you guys want to see?
Do you hear our accent? Do you know what someone said to me? And this is Darcy will get this more. Someone once called my accent an East Coast accent. I almost fucking punched them. I was like, "What did you just say to me?" Like, because Toronto is technically east. It is. It's east of the middle, I guess. But I never think of it as east. I think of the Maritimes as east, right?
Yeah,
like
you
Halifax,
don't have an like an East Coast accent in Canada is a different language.
It's a different language. It really is.
Yeah. I don't understand half of it. I remember going to the first time I toured to Newfoundland, and a heckler shouted out, because Newfoundland is the worst place to perform because the audience is 20 times funnier than you'll ever be.
That's legitimately true. Legitimately true.
And this guy heckled me, and I had to ask him 5 times to repeat what he was saying because I literally could not not him. And I was like, how are we from the same country?
Seeking the same language, and we're not.
The only time I really notice the accent is if I do an audition and they have I have to re-record because I'll say sorry wrong. If it's an American production, I'll have to be like sorry.
And mine's about.
Like, I always forget about. Yeah.
I hear myself saying about, and I'm just like, oh God, I hear it.
Yeah.
I hear it with sorry, but that's it. Yeah. And it's probably the word that we say the most here.
The most.
Biggest giveaway.
Well,
it's true.
My wife is from Boston, and she went to college at Temple in Philly, and she got shamed so bad for her accent that she kind of like unlearned it. So she talks to you don't really hear, any, for the most part, any accent, but it's like I'll go home with her and she's got friends that it's like I feel like I'm on the set of The Town.
Yeah.
And that accent's like dynamite to me. It's so fun.
But it's got that same kind of vibe. East Coast.
When we moved, when I was a kid, I was born in Toronto like Deb, but we moved out west when I was 8, and they put me in speech therapy because of my the way I spoke, because I said Toronto. I'm from Toronto, and they're like, oh, he doesn't speak properly, and so I did speech therapy for like 3 years. They just the West Coast, man. They're like,
didn't take, huh?
Here.
Didn't take.
You know what?
You're an evil witch.
I will see you that, Darcy, and raise you. I got something way worse. When I went to college in New York, and everyone's like, oh, like you're from the Oregon Trail, and I'm like, it's Oregon.
Oh,
that's way harder. I'll be honest. What I went through wasn't 3.
I feel your pain.
It's literally the closest thing I've gone through.
You've lived a blessed life.
I really have. Like, to come from this land of friendly lumberjacks and just that smoke dope. Did you get high, Darcy? Honestly?
Yeah, I
God
did.
bless.
It's probably why, if you think there's an audio delay, it's just me taking an extra second to
take your time, man. Take your time. We're gonna call someone in their home pretty soon, and they might be blitzed. We don't know.
I kind of hope they are secretly.
This is great. Can we do this every day?
Yeah. Hey, listen, either one of you can come on the chat anytime and go, hey, can I jump on? Like Arlo Warehouser, who you might have known as Caitlin, was on. They've been on the show, and also at one point just came on the chat and was like, "Can I fucking kick it?" And we're like, "Yeah."
Yes. Are they from Chicago?
Home,
Are they from Chicago? Did they start in Chicago?
No, Portland.
Oh, Portland. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Which is where you're from?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
It's confusing.
Where are you now?
Born in Chicago.
You're in LA,
grew up
right?
in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And then went back to Chicago, and that's where I got into comedy. After college,
And now he's in LA. Yes, he is in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a
that's what I
mess.
thought.
It's all just a mess. Yeah.
I've been trying to only log into Twitter once a day because I find it just so depressing right now to read everything. I'm like, oh, okay, everything's still gone to shit. Like where I live is literally like a town of 5,000 people. Like it's a little farming town. It's
beautiful.
Very it's just farms and rivers and stuff. And we have a 9-month-old or 10-month-old puppy, and so my days are very simple right now.
Yeah.
Between that and the garden, I'm like, okay, I don't really have time to deal with reading the news.
I know.
That's fantastic.
But it's weird. It's weird to be this disconnected.
Oh, I have a 3-week-old child. So like,
do you really?
I do. Yeah.
Oh my God! Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes. She's strangely muscular. And, I mean, that's no shit. It sounds like I'm doing a bit, but like when she wakes up out of a nap, I lift her up and she goes stretch and like arch her back and her legs and arms go out, and then she goes back. And like when I put a diaper on her, like the leg strength, just like, and the stomach, there's so much. She's got a little chubby face, but just like this, they're like
toned core, toned. She's been doing Pilates.
You know what? Tummy time, where you put the baby on his stomach.
Yeah.
I did that today, and she flipped the fuck over. No shit.
No, at
like
3
she got
weeks?
her knees under her and went. And I was just like, what's happening? And then of course I did it again and filmed it, and she wouldn't. She just
I have a 22-year-old daughter, and we put her down on tummy time, and she just lays there until we pick her up again. Not a lot of core strength.
No, she's very weak, that one.
When are we done? Do you really have a 22-year-old daughter?
Yeah, we have a 22-year-old. She's actually living alone on an island in northern British Columbia off the west coast doing a whale research project. She was supposed to be there with another person, and they had to leave. So she's literally the safest from COVID right now. But
oh my God,
terrifying! Like it.
But then you also have to tell him that too, that your husband had your daughter very young though.
Yeah,
Jared was like what, 19?
He was 19. We've been together. Jared and I have been together 19 years.
Oh.
And so nice. Grace was 2.5. I always forget the math. She just turned 22. Yeah, she's pretty awesome, but it's terrifying not being able to like see her and talk to her.
Yeah. So is she like, is that San Juan Islands then?
No, she's north of Haida Gwaii. It's a small island called Thin Island.
Okay.
There's literally just like a hut. And so she's there for 3 more months.
I would hate that more than anything in the world.
Yeah. Oh, it's disgusting. Everything she does, I'm like, why would you do that? You know, like it's so she's like I don't camp. When we were raising her, Jared and her would go camping, and I would legitimately stay at a hotel like 15 minutes away. I didn't go and spend the day with them, and then I'd go back to the hotel and watch a movie and have a bath. So like we just look at each other sometimes. Like we both want to do Survivor together because we think it'd be hilarious because I would die day 2. But yeah,
I love that you have your own comfort zones, and it's perfect.
No, we're all totally happy with it. It's because they know that if they made me camp, it would be a miserable experience for all 3 of us. So instead, it's like, I'll come hang out and swim in the lake and roast marshmallows, but we've got some priorities. Mine's a fucking bed.
I mean, I say to my therapist all the time, it's like vacations, you can't Griswold it. You can't do it. We're all doing this because that's what a family does.
No, exactly.
Oh my God. Like sometimes you're like, no, I'm going to sit at this outdoor cafe and I'm going to drink coffee and eat fatty pastries for a good. And I'm not going to see shit. I'm going to miss that thing I'll never see again. That one time, I'm going to miss that.
Because this pastry is delicious.
Yeah, because I have to enjoy my life. I'm not going to get back to the hotel with a backache that won't go away because I walked all day,
My father's favorite thing was he did because I'm your father. That was his, because I'm the father. Okay. That was his favorite. He used that every day.
Deborah,
every day.
Have we not yet accepted how wise men are? Look how great.
I keep forgetting.
The sweet assumed authority of the male.
Oh God, yeah.
It's something no one's sick of, No one's tired of that shit. But I want to go back to something that I was talking with Deborah about now that Darcy's on here. First, Debra, you still have to do that type 5. So do you have that ready for us to just enjoy? No. And I was thinking about, in my mind, when I said that dumb joke, I was like, I'm basically being the shitty morning radio DJ guy.
Oh God.
I think we should swap horrible stories because that's something most people don't know we go through. And it's something, I do willingly. It's like, yeah, it'll get asses in seats. Great.
Same.
But I would say more often than not, because it's better than it was. There are a lot of cool jocks that'll be like, oh, let's just talk. Let's just riff. That's the best when you have a DJ that does that. But there are still those ones that are just like, just write down lead-ins so you can do your material.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, no, I want to do my material tonight.
On the show.
And not make it awkward. And they're like, well, no, that's what comics do on here. So let's start. I'm not to moderate here, but Darcy, have you got one in the pike? You ready?
Oh yeah, mine. Like, first of all, I despise doing those morning shows. I know it gets people into the seats and stuff, but it's like you got to get up at like 6 a.m.
Yes,
you're tired, and it's just the energy of, hey, big dog, what's up, man? Have a seat. But I was in Calgary, Alberta, which is kind of like, cowboy central, and this guy, the guy that was interviewing me, obviously had no idea who I was, which is fine because no one does. But he didn't know I was queer. And so he was just like, yeah, so like you're talking about marriage with your wife and stuff. And I was like, well, actually it's my husband. And then he does like the record scratch thing sound and goes, whoa, we got a real live gay in the room. And I was just like, oh, here we go. Like, I haven't even had a cappuccino yet. Like, and then he just started to like, he just went into like the most homophobic questions, like who's the top, who's the bottom. And I was like, who says there has to be 2 of us? Like it was literally just like cringing. And then the club manager who drove me to do this radio interview, he's like, well, you weren't very playful. And I was like, no, I don't have to give into that kind of thing. But this is like, it's 10 years ago probably, but it has stuck with me because every time I've gone to that city, I'm like, not doing that show.
Fuck them.
God, no.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's country bumpkins, man.
Jesus.
Unless you're from Calgary, then you're a lovely city and you've got an up and coming.
A real live guy.
A real live gay, like in person.
Wow.
Good times.
Jesus Christ, man. Well, fucking way to like roll with it and just immediately have that. And I feel that's what I've learned from so many gay friends is just like they've had so many of those moments in their lives where they've had to do that thing of like, this will be over in 7 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
power through it.
It's like,
I'm just gonna fucking throw up a wall. Like I have to preserve.
Just pretend you're cool with it. Yeah, you get used to it after a while, but it's still one of those things where you're like, oh God, what are we getting into? I just also like, I don't know how, like, obviously when you're doing those shows, you don't have time to actually know who any of your guests are. So it's like, I do give a little kudos to the good ones that are just constant. Do you know who's really great is Marilyn Dennett in Toronto, Deb? Have you ever done her morning show?
Are you kidding?
Her radio show? Yeah,
yes,
you're probably on it
all the
like
time.
every
We're
week.
I like
she
her.
is fantastic. And she has the radio show and the talk show. So she's constantly interviewing people and stuff, but she can pretend like she knows who everyone is. And I always am amazed by that kind of talent.
Yeah.
No, right, because there's a lot. You're right. There's a lot. It's like, so when someone gives a shit, it's impressive.
Well, and it's you can tell people are literally phoning it in when they're like, our next guest from
you
don't know me. It's okay. No one fucking I'm with you, Darcy. Like no one really knows like who I am, but I don't give a shit. I make a living, whatever.
Yeah.
But I did have I did have one experience with this terrible guy in Chicago named Mancow, who is just this like, I mean,
Mancow?
Yeah, and he's a legend. People love him, but he just kind of like his thing is being. You can tell there's something good inside of him, but he just is mean and shitty and like kind of trying to be Howard Stern.
Yeah, I hate that.
Very right wing leaning in that way of like, hey, come on, anyone who knows anything knows this. and just dumb sketch. Like there was a little person on the show, and he was like, "Who is that? Is that a kid?" And I'm like, "No, that's a grown man." Like I wouldn't play along, and he's like, come on, like he's giving me that look. I'm like, fucking play. We're doing this. It's funny. He's like, there's a little kid out there. I'm like, no, that's a grown living man. You see, people, and he was just like, you know, like and he was kind of just tuning me out and just doing whatever because he's one of those guys who like talks to different guests. Like, hey, what about you? Rush Limbaugh style. And then at the end of it, like. I'm like, and with this show, I knew it was going to suck. So I was like, I can only be there for 45 minutes because I knew he would just keep me there all fucking morning, with all the guests. And I'm going out and he's like, so what can people see? And I'm like, I'm on a show called Up All Night on NBC with Christina Applegate and Will Arnett. And I walk out, he's like, what? And he's like, I have a kid. I love that show. Cause like that show was back in 2011. It's a show about parents who still want to party. Like who doesn't relate to that? That's what the show was about. And, and Maya's on there and like, Maya Rudolph, amazing cast. And he's just like, what? I fucking love that show. You have to leave? You sure? Oh, like he changed.
Totally wasted. Yeah.
Just wasted all his time with me, never looked it up. And it was that thing of just walking out like, I don't have much, but because you're I'm just going to leave that on the ground for you.
Yeah.
That thing. It's just like, they don't, it's like they'd rather just make up shit, but it's like he just didn't know,
that actually find out something that they'd be interested in.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have
my favorite is I mean I do, but I do and I don't. Okay, one of my favorite things, I said this the other day to a friend. Okay, often you have to go up, get up and go in. Right.
If Deborah, you just said I do and I don't, and you're just quiet. Like
and then I keep talking. Please notice. I do and I don't. But let's talk. One of the it's not terrible, but this is true. That's me. I will never not answer. Ever. But I often like you have to go in. But sometimes when you're lucky, you just have to call in. Do you know what I mean? Or like maybe I'm in Toronto or something, and then I'd have to call to Prince Edward Island. So they would call. And I'm telling you, I remember once I just forgot that it was happening, and my phone, and I keep my phone on, and I answered the phone, and they were like, "Morning, Deborah," and I was like, "Hello." I don't remember a word of what I said. I was solidly asleep, but I'm trusting. But you betcha, I was like, "Good morning, I'm great, can't wait to be there." And then after they were like, "That was terrific," and I was like, "Oh no, I am." and honestly, and that's why I'm always good at press because I can be so chirpy and fake. To be honest, I'm very good at it. So I'm all like, "Morning, hi," and I don't remember a fucking second of it. Not a second of it.
And as someone that's shared many a hotel room with you, I can attest that Deborah talks very well in her sleep. So I believe that story 100% because you have told me
but that was just like, monologue. And that's a scary moment because you're like, wow, I just like was on the radio for 8 minutes and I don't remember a word. I don't conscious memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there you go.
If you have that morning where you have to do like 5-6 stations, like I don't remember a word I said.
I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah.
What you wonder, like if you walked out and everyone in the other booths is like, do you remember? Like you said something so offensive, like something the earth of your public persona.
That's like me on the third show of a night when a club wants to do 3 shows. I'm like, okay. Show number 3. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm gonna say. It's if I don't know if I'm gonna repeat stuff. Oh my god.
No.
Anyway,
okay.
I think our person's here. I think
we only got a couple minutes left, but
let's talk.
Let's make them amazing. Let's welcome our guest, Mitchell. Everyone, Mitchell Berger.
Hey girl. Hey girl.
What's up, man? Mitchell? Oh, he's connecting. Okay.
Dun 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 dun. Oh, taking a second. There he is. Hey girl.
Hey girl.
What's going on, Mitchell? How are you?
Better now that I'm here.
All right.
Hey.
Give me a second to figure it out.
It's all right. It's all good, man. It's all good. How's your day treating you?
It's all right. I got off of work early, came home and did this. It would have been better if I had woken up this morning and someone hadn't stolen my bike off my porch.
Oh.
I live in the second story. Someone used a ladder and stole my bike.
They've wanted that bike, Mitchell.
I'm sorry.
They really did. I really wanted it too, though.
That's why. Can I listen? We have to. Did you paint the llama with glasses behind you?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Your picture behind you. Yeah.
Oh.
Is it an alpaca or is it a llama?
Yeah, he does have glasses. I guess there's a wall of things.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is he nearsighted or farsighted? I want to know.
I love it.
More about
Can he
that
drive?
llama,
Does he
right?
need them to drive?
I saw the Chicago flag, man. Are you in
I
Chicago?
am from Chicago. So I was originally going to do this at work, and then I ended up coming home. But I brought my favorite thing off my wall from home, and I left it at work. But it's the actual Chicago album, right?
Yeah.
That has the skyline of Chicago etched into it.
Cool.
And that's that Chicago under. It's super cool, but
That's awesome, man.
But yeah,
Sounds made up to me, Mitchell.
I went to Kendall College.
What is the Chicago?
Chicago.
These Canadian people don't know what Chicago
Yeah.
is for some reason.
Is that close to LA?
No,
It's really close. Just down the street.
Yeah.
What do you do, Mitchell?
I'm a chef.
Ooh.
Oh.
I like to bake mainly. What are you doing? Yeah, I bake pretzels and brioche buns for a hatchet throwing bar.
Oh,
Ooh.
fuck yeah, dude. Where's the hatchet throwing bar?
Bend, Oregon.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you bake everything in Chicago and ship it? How does that work?
No, I'm from Chicago, but I live in Bend.
Oh, you live in Bend. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you're in Oregon right now.
I've lived in Bend for a long time now, but yeah, I'm originally from Chicago. Went to college in Chicago, and then moved out here to Oregon.
I have a
had to
question.
go
So
live somewhere a little
you
less
bake bread
savvy.
for a hatchet throwing bar?
They got
Yeah,
to
I'm
cut
the
the bread
chef there.
somehow.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, did
Yeah,
they
you
throw
can
it at
bet
them? Did they
somehow.
throw hatchets at the bread? Is this how we slice
I
bread?
really hope
in
not. I
Bend,
worked too
Oregon?
hard on
Yeah.
Oh,
I worked way too hard on that.
I feel like you do. I would
upset. I
be.
get mad when they forget to close the containers of pretzels. I'm like, ah.
God damn it!
It's the
No,
I
worst.
like a brioche. I like a brioche bun.
Do you guys
No
have those?
brioche bun.
You guys have those in Canada? It's basically a place where you have a couple beers and you throw axes at a target. It's just it's
Yeah,
Same
there's
thing as
some
what
in
We call them
Montreal.
darts. We call them darts. They're
it's the
smaller.
new tarts. We're going more Viking now. You see,
Yeah,
they're fun.
We're Northwest. We're in the Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
You give
I've been
them
to Bend.
give them
I've
a
been to
hatchet
Bend.
and a beer. They're happy out here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
especially here in Bend, Oregon, this is like the land of Peter Pan. Like no one wants to grow up. Everyone wants to ride their bike, smoke weed, drink craft beer, go skiing, hike, play with their dog.
Yeah, it's
throw
Vancouver
hatchets.
as well. It is. The
I was
West
just gonna
Coast.
say this is bad. Out.
ENW.
This is
Pacific
why I
Northwest.
like the West Coast, man. I'm from Portland,
Yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Like Darcy, Vancouver. It's that same mellow vibe where it's just like,
Yeah.
look, I just want to enjoy myself in the
I
time.
call it Never Neverland. No one wants to grow up out here.
I've never
That's
heard
amazing.
but that's dead on, man.
Land of
Yeah.
Peter Pan.
That's
for sure.
dead on.
Without a
Absolutely.
doubt, yeah.
Hot.
No,
So-
I moved out
Yeah,
here.
did I say
I
that?
lived in Chicago, and I was out drinking at a late bar. I was gonna go stay with a friend who lived down the street from where I worked, and he went home with one of our coworkers. So I was like, I gotta go home now. What am I supposed to do? And so I spent the last of my money on a cab, and I was really drunk, and I lived in this 100-year-old building, and there's 3 doors to go through the front, or 2 doors around the back. So I was like, I'll go around the back. And some guy jumped out behind the dumpster, and he pushed me. He's like, give me all your money. I was like, I don't have any money. Just gave it to a cab driver. Yeah.
Is this the same person that stole your bike?
Cab. What's
I
that?
feel like you live a dangerous life, Mitchell. I want you to be more careful. Your Auntie Debra wants you to watch yourself.
Well,
That's why I moved somewhere less stabby. That's
Good. Yes.
so much less stabby, way less.
Yeah,
stupid.
I'll trade bike theft over knifing any day,
Same.
That's for sure. But I punched him in the face and I laughed at him, and then he got up and he stabbed me. I thought he said
Mitchell,
a dirty needle. And I
this
was
is-
like, oh no, I've
Did
been
not
stabbed
see
with a
that
dirty
coming,
needle.
Mitchell.
What am I
Neither.
supposed
That
to
took a
do?
turn.
And so I
earlier
took
Matt said that
myself-
I buried the lead. I think this is burying the lead.
Yeah, you didn't.
I'm a chef.
Like you
Also, I got
started
stabbed
with
because I
my
punched a guy.
friends went to a bar and I was still out and I needed to go home. Like you didn't start
Yeah.
with I got stabbed. Let me go.
No,
Here's
that's
what
like-
happened.
It's the part of the story at the end. But that's not even the funny part. I mean, okay, you know, time plus tragedy. No, but this was in 2003, I believe, and I felt my stomach. It was wet. And I looked at my hand, and it was like very red. And I was like, "Whoa, that's a sobering thing." And so I this is before I didn't have a cell phone then, and I tried to get a cab. I lived in Logan Square. If you guys know where that is.
Yes.
I tried to get a cab. Can't get a cab. It's covered in blood, right? It's like 5 a.m. So I think to myself, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I need some medical attention. I remember there's a Dunkin' Donuts / Baskin Robbins around the corner. And so I'm like, I swear, I hope the stereotype is true for this one time. I walked into Dunkin' Donuts at like 4:45 in the morning, and sure as shit, there are 10 cops drinking coffee and donuts in the corner. I mean, if I wasn't just like dripping blood all over, I almost would have ordered a coffee and a donut. I'm like, I get a decaf and a cooler. I need
Mitchell, the way you
something.
told that story, I thought you were gonna say, I got a coffee, 6 donuts, and it said, hey, cops.
Yeah, right. You should have. I really honestly considered it.
Your
casual
casual approach, I love, man. I love that none of this seems to have affected you. You're still just like, I'm not gonna knock it a cruller. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But fuck, you gotta live.
Exactly. Only live once.
But Mitchell,
and at that point, it might not be that much longer. I might need to get a cruller before I die. You know,
you gotta have one
before having my last donut.
Words to live by. Words to live by.
Buddy, I'm glad you're okay. How are you dealing with the lockdown? Are you doing all right?
We're fine. It's I'm a single parent. I have 2 kids, so it's just my 2 boys and I locked in our apartment for 2 months. I'm back to work now, but yeah, it was just us doing our thing, making puzzles,
Good for you.
Playing video games, trying not to go crazy. You know,
Good for you, man.
Good man.
That's really rad.
That's great.
Well, I'm glad you got to come on.
I like this podcast here, The Dollop.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
I love Garrett.
I love those
Oh my
guys.
God.
Dave Anthony is such a warm soul.
Oh,
But
yeah.
no, I'm kidding. I love Dave.
No, they're super funny, and I probably listened to all 400 episodes during quarantine.
Oh, good for you. We had them at Bridgetown Comedy Festival, which is my fest until for Portland for 10 years. And when they were on, I hate to say, I admitted I was like, I don't know your podcast. And now I'm like one of their biggest fans. You know, because I love history. You know, I love history.
And they do a good job at making it fun.
They really do. Okay, got a couple more donations. Brandy, 723, $20. Thank you for doing the show. And Kenny K63, $10. Thank you guys so much for donating. And guys, that's the show. Mitchell, thanks for coming on and joining us.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
Darcy, thanks to you and your daughter and your husband. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Deborah, I don't think you did that well. I'm kidding. You killed it. You're the funniest.
Next time.
I love you. And thank you for
love you too.
Dickhead Kyle. But thanks, everybody. Hey,
girl. Right, take it easy.
Hey, guys.
Bye, Mitchell.
Love you, Dee.
Darcy, I'll call you over the weekend. Bye.
Yeah, okay, bye.